What if intelligent design were, in fact, true? What if someone out there actually proved to me, unequivocally, that the universe was the result of intelligent design? Would that prove the existence of God? Okay, let's think first of all about this thing called God. The word can obviously mean many things. Monotheistic religions use the word in a very particular way to refer to a one-off, unique being. The Judeo-Christian Islamic concept of God is not that they, using they as a gender-neutral third-person singular pronoun, is not that they are a particular exemplar of a category of beings called gods, the way that a particular table, I always seem to come back to tables, don't I? But the way that a particular table is a specific instance of a concept of table. In a monotheistic religion, God is a category containing only one exemplar, hence the uppercase. In this sense, it's similar to our use of the word universe. There's only one instance of this category of objects, unless you happen to believe in the multiverse, in which case there are many universes, which kind of contradicts the concept of universe, doesn't it? One is in the word itself. There can't really be more than one universe, but I digress. There seems to be something rather odd about a category of objects that has only a single exemplar. And not just by historical accident either, as for instance might be the case with the Tasmanian tiger or the dodo. At one time there was only a single Tasmanian tiger or thylacine in the world, and probably there was only one dodo left alive, and then there were none. According to monotheism, there's not just contingently only one God, but necessarily. Uniqueness is part of the definition of God, according to monotheism. We can't say anything, for instance, about whether this God is a good God. There's nothing to compare them with. The question just doesn't seem to apply. So those who believe in a single God, who claim that they are good, are, in a way, undermining their own monotheism. They can only really arrive at the conclusion that God is good by comparing them with things that aren't. Probably us or the devil, for example. Certainly not other gods. But rather than this, I suspect that they actually take their definition of good from this being. God is by definition good. So this is what good looks like, however that actually manifests. So you can't actually argue that God is good. This requires a comparison which can't be made, and because you've taken your definition of good from God. God is good is a tautology because you have in fact defined God as good. But again, I digress. This monotheistic concept of God is obviously not the only concept of God. There are and have been many polytheistic religions, with sometimes vast pantheons of beings described as gods. Hinduism, according to some interpretations at least, may have thousands of gods, or there may be one ultimate divinity manifested in various ways, or one unknowable original God as creator, or maybe some kind of impersonal divine spirit that permeates all reality. We're all more or less familiar with the Egyptian, Greek, Roman and Norse pantheons. In most of these religions, the gods are individual instances of a category called God, much like tables. Well, you get the picture. These gods can be compared to human beings and to each other. You can have good gods and evil gods, clever gods and stupid gods. They are identified as gods usually because, first of all, they are stronger and more powerful than we human beings, at least in some respects. Also, usually because they are immortal rather than mortal. However, the Greek gods were not intrinsically immortal. They maintained their immortality by eating ambrosia and drinking nectar. Mortals could be made immortal. Heracles, for example. So, non-gods can become gods. The Norse gods were dependent on Idun's golden magical apples to retain their immortality. And they could, of course, be killed. Basically, as the Marvel Cinematic Universe suggests, in these polytheistic systems, the gods are really more like superheroes than the god of monotheism. So, where were we? Oh yes, if you or anyone can show me incontrovertible proof that the universe is the result of intelligent design, will you have proved to me the existence of God or gods? First of all, if the evidence really is incontrovertible, then I will accept it. I won't stubbornly go on denying it. But even so, you haven't proved the existence of God or gods. You've demonstrated only that there is an intelligent designer or designers. Aquinas might like to follow this up with his usual claim that, and this being we call God, but I see no reason to do that. I see no more reason to do that than in the case of our friend who finds a watch in the field and concludes that it must be the product of intelligent design. He doesn't go on to conclude that the being who made the watch was God. No more do I need to conclude from intelligent design, if indeed it be proved to me, that the designer is God, or any or all of the gods, which, anyway, would just be superheroes, not gods. I wouldn't be in a position to say anything about the nature of these designers. I have no reason, for instance, to think there's just one of them. I can't necessarily conclude that they're particularly good designers. There's no reason to think that this is a particularly well-designed universe. Again, we have no point of comparison to be able to say either way. We certainly have no reason to attribute to these designers any of the other qualities that are attributed to the gods, and certainly not to the God. Were we to try to make some kind of judgment from the nature of the universe itself, the evidence is, at best, ambiguous. Maybe they're excellent designers and engineers, maybe not. Maybe they're morally good, maybe not. We just can't say. If you try to back up some claim that they, singular or plural, are all knowing, all powerful, and infinitely good and loving, I'm afraid you've drifted back to indemonstrable claims, usually based on some kind of revelation. If you prove to me that one or more intelligent designer is responsible for the universe in which we happen to live, then they will become the object of my scientific curiosity. How exciting! Let's apply the scientific method to them. And maybe they can show us how to build universes. Wouldn't that be cool? But we still wouldn't be God or gods any more than they are.